Day 32, to the glory of God. We're gonna just move our bodies in the ways in which the Lord has created our bodies. So we're gonna do push, pull, squat, hinge, rotate, and then we're gonna hit our lunge and our lunge matrix, and we're gonna do a quick check-in. So we're gonna do controlled articular rotations, starting with the neck first. So I would encourage you to do more than one repetition, but we could just start with one repetition, and we'll do scapula all the way around, and then we'll do shoulder all the way around, shoulder all the way around. Nice. And then T-spine. Thoracic spine, elbow, wrists. We can even do fingers. All right, go into hip. So again, the goal here is to try to sort of think about your joints as a cookie dough bowl, and we're scraping the outside of that bowl, trying to create as much tension as possible as we scrape the outside of those rotational ranges of motion, or rotational articulations, functional range articulation. Controlled articular rotations. Wow, functional range assessment is what Dr. Andrea Spina teaches with the controlled articular rotations. But yeah, so like I'm trying to scrape the outside of the bowl. This is going to create all sorts of tibial rotation here for my knee, ankle rotation, and foot inversion, eversion. So I'm trying to create as much joint articulation as possible to the furthest ranges and be able to generate force at those ranges. And what that's going to do, that's going to teach my central nervous system, my peripheral nervous system, that hey, I do have these ranges and I can generate force at these ranges, because that is where we get injured, right? So if I roll my ankle, it's because I can't actually generate force at that end range. I don't know if you can see that. I can't actually generate force at that end range. And so because I've totally stretched my tendons, once I hit that end range, then I'm popping and snapping, right? But if I can generate force at that end range and bring myself back, right, now I have a much greater chance of keeping that injury from occurring, right? Because I can actually control my joint at that end range of motion. Now, obviously, if it's a major force production, that's accidental, like you stepped off of a curb or whatever, then maybe you don't have enough force that you can generate at that end range. But the plan and the goal is for us to progressively overload, right, at those end ranges and in all of our different variabilities of our human movement that we were created with. And by doing that, now we're not only strengthening our body, but we're injury resisting, or we're creating injury resistance in our joints, in our tissues, in our tendons, in our muscles, in our peripheral nervous system, and our central nervous system, right? It's all built together in this incredible system. So now we'll go into push. So here with just push up. Nice. So an old mainstay, and then row. Nice. And then the other side. Nice. And then I don't know why I keep throwing it down every time I gotta do squats. And squat. then hinge. Couple of things before I do rotation. So with my progressive overload, I am now at my end range, right, of motion for each of those movements. I'm at the max speed without losing control. And so if that is the case, then now I'm gonna have to actually go up in weight, because that's the only variable that I'm gonna be able to adjust or change my leverage or change the way in which my body loads, right, that way. So what you'll probably see next time is that I'm gonna go to 2 dumbbells. So this is a 35-pound dumbbell. So I'll probably go to 2 20s or 2 25s. And that is gonna increase the load. And I'm also gonna load it on both sides. That'll speed up my row or the pull part of the movement pattern. And then it'll change kind of the way I load that front squat and even the way I load that hinge. So it's gonna change the way I load it a little bit, as well as increase the load, because I've maxed out my ranges of motion and my speed. So if you haven't done that yet, keep working at getting into deeper ranges of motion that stay out of pain, and then slowly try to increase the speed. See if you can get it up to that 20 reps. If you can do all of those things, right, then you can start adding load. But again, it's just consistency and then slow and steady progressive overload. All right, so now into my rotation. So pretending I'm throwing, and pretending I'm punching. All right, and then last but not least, now I'm gonna do the opposite side as I lunge. So you'll see me switch every time. Oh, I should have changed out my ring. I'm wearing my metal ring today. So this creates just a little dynamic work with my upper body as I load. So it just makes it a little bit more fun. So always opposite side. Nice. So there you go. You got controlled articular rotations to start, our little body assessment instead of the Lunge Matrix with arm drivers, but you can do that if you want as well. And then jumping into push up, or you could do overhead press or floor press. A lot of different ways to push, pull, single arm pulls. You'll see that the next time I'll have 2 dumbbells, so it'll be a little bit different. And then we went into squat. So front squat is going to be the best squat that you can perform. It's going to load up the quads really well, and more importantly, it's going to make your upper back engage and be stable and strong, make your abdominals engage, be stable and strong, so that you have good strong vertical core. It's going to help counterbalance your squat. And then we went into hinge, again trying to reach our furthest ranges of motion in all of those movement patterns and create speed that doesn't take away from the range of motion and doesn't create instability or lack of control. So speed under control. And we're gonna try to hit 20 reps for each thing. And then of course we did rotation with pretend throwing, rotation with pretend punching. Right, those are a couple of different ways, our scapula and shoulder and spine and hips and knee and ankle and foot combine together in this cool kinetic chain to create rotation, which generates the most power that a human can generate is through rotation. Next most would be through some sort of triple or quadruple extension, right? So hips extending, knees extending, ankles extending, even feet pressing off, toes pressing off. And then finally we finished with the contralaterally loaded or opposite side loaded lunge matrix for all 8 positions with a dumbbell. So yeah, I love you. I'm praying for you. We're moving and progressing and conditioning more strength, more force output, with more variability, right? With better mobility, better control of our mobility, right? All to the glory of God. And we're only on day 30, 32? Yeah, day 32. So I love you and I'm praying for you.